Hello, students, and welcome to week 5 of History of Jazz. So, you may have noticed last week there was no quiz. Um, I included those first 3 quizzes to give you basically an introduction into the course and to get a feel for the type of questions that I ask. So, everything moving forward is gearing up towards the midterm exam, which is on October 22nd. And I encourage you to refer back to the syllabus anytime you have a question about anything that's coming up. That's, of course, if you click on the Start Here menu, the syllabus is there. So this week, there's a lot of information coming up. We begin with our introduction into the 1920s. And there's a number of things that are covered here in the videos, such as prohibition, um, a rebellion against Victorian values. Then we talk about our first, basically, official jazz musician, and that's Buddy Bolden. He's a trumpet player. He never recorded. And then we talk about some more trumpet players, such as Freddie Keppard, who made his living playing in vaudeville, which brings us to our next topic, which is blackface, which is covered in one of the videos that I have. It's called The History of Blackface, and why it is a racist behavior that is not to be tolerated. Megyn Kelly lost her job over that. I believe it was in 2018, when she had no clue about the history of blackface and why it is unacceptable in today's society. So make sure you watch that video. I want you to have a clue and never get yourself in trouble, or be able to educate your friends on why dressing up in blackface is wrong. Okay, so make sure you watch that video. We talk about Dixieland instrumentation next, and then we move into other artists such as the original Dixieland Jazz Band, Joe King Oliver, who's another trumpet player. The important thing about him is he was the teacher to Louis Armstrong, teacher and mentor to Louis Armstrong. Then we talk about Jelly Roll Morton, who was a piano player. He also falsely claimed that he and he alone invented jazz, but jazz was the product of many people developing a style of music. It didn't stem from one person and one person alone. But one of the things that Jelly Roll did do was he did write down jazz. Then I have a video in there which is a TED Talk, which comes from Michael Tilson Thomas, and he is the conductor of the San Francisco Symphony. So he presents the video from a classical music perspective, but it's actually really excellent on emotion in music, where music notation stems from, and how to think about music in general. It's a really well done TED Talk. Then we talk about our most famous and most important jazz musician of the semester, and that's Louis Armstrong. So make sure you watch all the content on Louis Armstrong. The main thing about Louis Armstrong was he took the focus from a collective improvisation, everybody soloing at the same time, and he changed that to the focus being on one person. Now, sometimes it was on himself, as in the beginning of West End Blues, or sometimes it was on other players in his band. But a lot of this Dixieland music sounds the same because everybody's soloing at the same time, and it seems like chaos. And when you get to West End Blues, it'll kind of feel like a relief. You're like, oh, I can hear the melody, I can hear what's going on. And this was a big development in jazz. Then we talk about the first master of the soprano saxophone, and that's Sidney Bechet. Sidney Bechet was a New Orleans musician of Creole descent. The word Creole basically means mixed race. And he was one of the few people that could go toe-to-toe with Louis Armstrong and have the same impact. So you'll hear his song Petite Fleur. That's French for the little flower. And he has a wide vibrato on his sound. It's very much has this vibrato sound. Some people find it annoying, but I think it has a certain charm and power to it when you listen to it. And then the last musician that we're going to talk about is James P. Johnson. And he was a stride piano player. And the word stride piano comes from this type of motion that piano players used in the left hand, which kind of looked like somebody walking down the street or striding. So there's a lot of content here. Don't leave it for the last minute. Something to keep in mind. I can click on class progress and see who's going through the lectures and what you're watching and what you're not. So I am monitoring who's doing their work and who's not. If you're the type of person that crams the day before the midterm, I guess it's up to you, but I don't recommend it because there's a lot of listening. I recommend you listen to these videos once a week or twice a week, at least the ones I've marked as listening, so you get the sound in your head, okay? Feel free to email me with questions or concerns. Reach out if you have a problem, okay? So welcome to week 5. I hope you enjoy the content. Thank you very much.